There's a key.
There are many oh no, let me say that I don't know, it's like I have a day off and I want to share the path, I want to share the process. And yeah, so one just kind of discrete example of how the healing process works, how the liberation process works. Excuse me. Drawing from just personal experience. It seems that the psyche and the wounded or stuck parts, frozen parts, they communicate. There's almost like a language of images. So, yeah, so for me, for example, I've had one of the ways it seems my psyche, my soul communicates to me and brings stuff forward is in geographic locations. um, and yeah, it's like it's almost as if certain places, like for instance, I've got a place in the city that I was spending a lot of time at, kind of a geographical location, a specific place, like within a certain radius of a few blocks. And yeah, I don't have this all worked out because I have some speculations about what's going on there. But anyways, I'll get these images coming forward of this place, this location. And there's a energetic signature. There's like a vibration, an energetic tone that is something like unsafe or depressed, gloomy, gross, disgusting. It's like got some flavor of that. I'm trying to see if there's a more a better word. Almost like this feeling of hopelessness or sadness, something like that. And I've been working with that. I mean, some things liberate from your consciousness because they're just so ready and they just sort of transmute and move out. And some, it's like you have to keep washing them with your awareness, and the kind of density, the thickness, the stain, or the density over time starts to diminish, over time starts to dissolve. And this is one that I've done a lot of work with, and it's lessened to some degree, but it still comes up. And I don't know. I haven't heard other people talk quite this way, so this may be one of those things that's you'll have to feel into and figure out the more universal or generalizable dimensions of how this might apply. But yeah, for me, it's like there's certain places in cities that come up for me. Yeah, it's like they come up in this energetic package of the kind of overall place that I was at mentally, emotionally at the time, that time in my life, things that I hadn't processed. And so it's like they kind of associate with these images. So you'll get this kind of packet of information that comes up. And as you start to unpack it, like I found kind of some traumatic, I guess you could say, or just kind of specific experiences in these locations that are bad, hard, frightening, scary, or just, you just weren't able to process through at the time. So I've had to work with some of those. But it's almost as if there's also an energetic signature to certain locations. I don't want to like say that too strongly or narrativize that too strongly. I think you can kind of get a little bit, that can have its own shadow of being aversive about, you can start to have too many, you can start to get a little bit too paranoid about moving in the world when you're afraid of encountering like bad energies out there. So I don't want to say that too strongly. and the relationship between it's almost like, is this reflecting kind of deeper inner things within myself, within kind of my inner psychic, spiritual, emotional terrain? And these are the images that the psyche's using. It's sort of hard to disentangle all the information, and at some level it doesn't really matter. It's just whatever comes up is what's up to be healed. And so for me it'll be a certain kind of environment that comes up, images of a certain place / time, and just like a real dark, cold feeling. And so the trick with those, first of all, you just allow it, which can be scary. It's like, I don't want to go into that ugly feeling space. But this is where it's really helpful to have a kind of a faith, a trust in God, an understanding that these energies are not who you are ultimately, that they're coming up to be healed, and that hopefully you've done enough of this kind of work that you have a certain confidence and momentum of being able to move through things. And you don't have to move it all at once, but if you're able to kind of touch into that sadness, the heaviness, and if you can kind of, it's like it's almost like you're on a rescue mission. Take that lightly, but there's like this sense I have in this kind of approach. It's almost like you're rescuing these trapped dimensions of yourself. And so you're kind of, I think of Christ descending into hell, the harrowing of hell. And it's like you're going into these spaces to retrieve that part of you that's stuck back there. And so it's almost as if you go and you ask, what are you feeling? Like, okay, here's all this heavy imagery, these heavy emotions. Like, what's that like? How do you feel? I'm having some of the emotions move right now. And you can just like ask, how do you feel? And scared, lonely. You just let that kind of, that scared, frightened, whatever it is, lonely, angry, you let that part of you speak. And it's good to just be soft and to curl up and to hold it and to cry. And that's the liberation of it. And can you say, yeah, that's really frightening. I can see how that's scary. Or, I mean, it doesn't have to be so dialogic, so verbal, so explicit. After a while, you just kind of go to that energy, that place, and it's almost at a vibrational level. You can kind of just merge with that vibration, and it starts to open up and unlock and to release. But it can be helpful to talk to almost personify or think about, it's like you're going back in consciousness to rescue these fragmented, lost aspects of yourself. So you just let them come forward and share that they're really frightened. It's really scary. I hate being here. This is gross. This is ugly. This is awful. I'm so sad. I'm so scared. Whatever it is, just simple, basic expression, childlike expression. And So, and that's basically the process. It's how you heal it. And it's, some of these things are really big. And so it's like you just heal a little bit at a time. There seems to be something of like a natural intelligence about how much can be liberated at any one time. And it lightens up over time, the intensity of it. Be ready to just really deeply grieve some pockets of shame, of pain, of loss, of grief. You know, loneliness is like a big one, I've noticed. You would think it would be like fear. People talk about how fear is so fundamental. But I found loneliness to be really one of the core emotions, one of the really frequent ones. That may be individual, very person to person. But yeah, there's a sweetness in meeting that loneliness and crying and listening to it, allowing it to speak. You could say verbally, but also just energetically allowing that to come forward. Beneath the tag, beneath the label of loneliness, what is the actual experience in the body, in the consciousness? You can get so close to it that you can see it as this kind of just pixelated, radiant consciousness, light, vibration. Trying to see if there's anything else I want to say about that. Yeah, it's a tender process, it's a gentle process. Disgust, feelings of disgust, like disgusting images can come up. And it's the same process, going into that aspect of yourself that's experiencing that, comforting, being with, attending to. That's the healing process. That's the liberation, being with, tending to. The one who's experiencing that, allowing those feelings to come up, and then at that deeper level, merging with that aspect of who you are, who you were, that's frozen back then. And welcoming them back and healing and processing it out.